What if I told you you could own a miniature space alien that's incredibly strong for its size and comes in all different shapes and sizes and natural camouflage? Well, you can. In fact, here's one now. What's up, everybody? I'm Raph, and this is Yara, the spiny flower mantis, and you're watching Red Ribbon Reptiles. So before we get into this video today, where I state my opinion, strictly opinion, but I do believe mantises are the best pet invertebrate because there's not too many animals on the planet cooler than these guys, and she's giving me the death stare right now. And also, they are pretty easy to care for. So we're going to talk a little bit about all that. But the caveats are, number one, like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about care. But there are over 2,400 species of these little guys. So I'm not telling you strictly how to care for your mantis. This is more, I'm just letting you know why I think they're awesome. And if you're into them and you like a specific species, do your research on that species and then go ahead and get it. And the other caveat is that this is my opinion. So yes, I'm claiming that they're the best pet invertebrate, but I don't have any studies to show you that. I'm just going to tell you why I think so. Okay, so like I said, the first thing I want to talk about is how easy they are to care for. And yeah, just the temperatures and humidity are super easy for these guys. So it's maybe a little above room temperature for a lot of these species, but it's not hard to account for that, especially if you have a reptile room where it gets pretty stinking warm during the day. So they really have everything they need. Those temperatures are going to be really 70 to 80. Again, it varies species by species, but that's kind of 75 is really a safe zone for any of them. And now let's talk about humidity. So right around the 60% range is great for a lot of these guys. If you have an enclosure that's enclosed and it's not like a screen cage like our chameleon is in or anything like that, it's definitely manageable. You just missed it about once a day because they do like to drink water too, and she just pooped on me. But yeah, so they like to drink water, so as long as you're misting once a day, and I do recommend keeping a layer of substrate in there. Coconut coir works the best probably because it's good at holding it's good at holding its dampness without like molding or things like that. It stays clean and it's nice to look at too. It looks like a pretty natural dirt. Oh, she's doing a dancey dance. And humidity is so important for these guys because it helps them have a healthy molt, or if you're a reptile keeper, it's like shedding their skin, but what they do is they get rid of the exoskeleton. They come out a little bit soft and gooey so that they can grow and do things like that. Same with reptile shedding. But if the humidity is too low, they can have problems while they're molting, and that is, they're pretty hardy creatures. They can handle a lot of different things for what they are, but that is a good way to kill your mantis, is giving it a bad molt or letting it have a bad molt, I guess. So speaking about that enclosure, another reason why they're so easy to take care for is it's a tiny little animal. She's not full size. She'll get a little bit bigger, but in general, even the biggest mantises aren't huge creatures. So really the rule of thumb is you want the enclosure's height to be 3 times the length of the mantis. And that's pretty easy to achieve. I mean, you can even find a bigger size like mason jar that can fit some of the bigger species of mantises just fine. So that's really easy to account for, and it's easy to accomplish. And especially if you have a smaller species, you can get away with, well, right here we have a ghost mantis in like a 24-ounce deli cup. There she is. Yeah, I have the spiny flower mantis out with me because although she's our smallest mantis, she's the most confident, and she's just kind of chilling right now. Like I said, she pooped on me already. I don't know, she did like this vomit thing on my finger, I think, a second ago. So, she's just living life, really. As far as optimal enclosures go, we use the, Zilla Micro Habitat, or the Micro Habitat by Zilla, the arboreal version, so it's oriented up and down. And they come in all different sizes, so you can find one that's the right size for your mantis. The front opening door makes it really easy to feed and stuff like that, because when you have, they like to hang out at the top of things sometimes, so if you constantly have to take the lid every time you feed them, and if you have a jumpy mantis like our ghost mantis, which is in that cup, feeding can be a little interesting sometimes. So yeah, I definitely like these little micro habitats by Zilla. I think they're a good product. They're clear on all sides too, so you can really see and observe their motion and all that stuff. So just really cool product. So still talking about their care, feeding these guys is actually, oh, she got distracted by my hand. But feeding these guys is really easy. You know, when they're babies, their first few molts, they need to eat fruit flies, and that can be a pain in the butt for sure. I mean, but easy enough to facilitate though, because if you just get a colony that's gonna keep reproducing on its own, and flightless fruit flies, of course. Yeah, she keeps throwing up on me. I don't know what this is. What's up, everybody? It's me from the future. I'm sitting down to edit the Mantis video. Say hi to... Oh no, we can't zoom in with the front camera. Say hi to Melon right there. Okay, so upon further review, right, with the Mantis throw up, is she could be sick, could be closing in on her last days here, could have gotten a parasite from a bad cricket. Now, she's only eaten 2 crickets ever, I think, so, you know, there's a chance that that's what happened, but a lot of what I read with mantises that throw up like that is that it's going to be like kind of like a real dark black and smell really bad, and hers didn't smell at all. I even sniffed it. I cut it out of the video because I thought it looked weird, but so I sniffed it and it didn't really have any smell, and it was really watery. So a second thing that could have happened is she had a very, well, not a very big dubia roach, but a big dubia roach for her, and it was gut loaded on carrots, and carrots don't really agree with a mantis's stomach. So moving forward, I like carrots as a gut load, but what I might do is I might set them aside a couple days before I feed the mantises so that they pass all the carrot. So, yep, it was a very big meal. It had carrot in it, and we've been spraying them a little more than usual with water because the humidity is going down here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So, what I'm hoping, and she hasn't been doing any of the throwing up in her enclosure or anything like that. So, what I'm hoping happened is she had an upset tummy, a very full tummy, and then the first time Big Monkey Man ever held her, she got a little antsy and just kind of let some out. So that's what we're going with. Enjoy the rest of the video. And I would be remiss to say that even as annoying as fruit flies are to deal with, once they're in there with the mantis and you get to watch the little baby mantis kind of chase around these fruit flies all over the place, and you know, it's fun to watch. So it is kind of worth it if you're into that sort of thing. But the feeding gets much easier as they get older, right? So now even her, who's our smallest mantis, she's at the size now where she can eat things like, you know, tiny crickets or small mealworms as a treat, dubia roaches, things like that that are small enough still for her to eat. So, and that's a lot easier too because it's a one and done instead of trying to get enough fruit flies in there but not too many that it's too much for them. They like active prey more, so you can't just throw something like a dubia roach in there and expect them to find it because the dubia roach will bury itself in the dirt and things like that. But you know, crickets, as long as they're appropriately sized, because crickets are actually not super closely related to these guys, but crickets can be pretty mean predators as well. So if you have a cricket in there that's too big for it, it's pretty much a 50-50 on who's going to make it out alive, even though these things are such amazing hunters and things like that. You don't want to risk anything. So as I was saying, things that make good staple feeders for these guys are, and again, it's easy when you have a reptile collection because, you know, we have baby dubia roaches, we can get tiny crickets in here, we got tiny mealworms, we got black soldier fly, we got basically everything these guys would need. And on top of that, they don't have to eat very often. So they have a built-in I'm hungry meter, and that's the abdomen there. As you can see, it's that furthest part down. She kind of has it curled up. A lot of mantises curl it up like that at rest. So you can see it's pretty plump, and when it starts flattening out a little bit, that's how you know they're ready for another meal. And that's, you know, it's super easy. They're just telling you. They're like, hey, Sam, human, feed me. Now we're going to talk about observation and interacting with these creatures. So, I don't know, to me, I'm just fascinated because they are, again, for their size and everything, obviously they're not taking down like elk or anything like that, but they can take down a large prey item compared to their size, and they can do it relatively easily. And they only really do it with these two little, I don't know if I can get her to show them off, but these little raptorial arms that they're called. They're the forelegs of the praying mantis that are, so she's not a praying mantis, right? She's a spiny flower mantis. But praying mantis is a term that pretty much everybody knows, and it's because of those raptorial arms and how they keep them tucked in the chest. But those things are just honestly one of the coolest adaptations that nature has ever given us, because not us, but them, us to view. But because, you know, I feed her with these tongs right here. Hang on. So I'll have the prey item on these tongs and hold it, you know, present it to her until she's ready to, oh, I think she knows what these tongs mean. So I'll present her the prey item, and when she strikes it, and, you know, and again, she's our smallest mantis, but you can feel it through the tongs. And for something that's this size to, again, it's not a jolt, it doesn't knock me out of my socks or anything like that, but just the fact that you can feel something that she's doing is amazing. Because, like, right now, I can't even realize that she's on my hand. But when she strikes for prey, you can feel it, and I just think that's really wicked awesome. To that same point, I cannot emphasize enough that if mantises were 3 foot tall or so, something like that, there wouldn't be any more people. Yeah, you just have to think the way that, because, you know, when I feed them mealworms occasionally as a treat, they'll grab onto a decent sized mealworm, and the mealworm will be wriggling, trying to get away, pushing off the acrylic and things like that. They don't care. They just hold on to that boy, and they will just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and they eat it alive too. So that's another, that right there, people would just have heart attacks all the time seeing, you know, because if it was 3 foot, they'd start eating all kinds of things. But another really cool thing about observing them is that they can traverse pretty much any surface. So if you do have, you know, an acrylic all around or glass enclosure that you have them in, you can see them pretty much anywhere from all different angles. So, you know, it's like a pet rock, but way cooler than a rock. I don't know what she's doing. She's dancing again. I just hope she doesn't jump. So, okay, yeah, I guess we'll talk about handling next. This is my first time ever really handling them. And it's her, because she just really doesn't care about anything too much unless she sees food, and then she'll tweak her head all creepy. Oh my goodness. Yep, she's looking dead at me now. I'm fascinated by nature in general, right? And evolution and all that. And if these things, you know, if a spaceship crashed and then a bunch of these things came out, it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not like a lot of the animals now are so, a lot of animals that we live with on Earth are so ingrained in our heads now, and we know that they're life forms and things like that, so they really seem normal. But when you take a good look at a praying mantis or a mantis, any kind of mantis, it just looks very alien. You know, the way their head is on a swivel, the way they're almost like robotic in their movements, but they're not. The way they're built in really to blend into nature. She doesn't have her full patterning or colors or anything like that yet, but I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell if this was on a little white flower somewhere. You know, you'd have no idea. You'd have to really be looking for it. But anyway, this is coming from a guy who really, I've never been a big bug guy. You know what I mean? Bug, insect, arachnid. I've never been a huge fan of these. I've started to come around to arachnids too, because they have that kind of alien type aspect to them. And I'm also getting desensitized from dealing with hundreds and hundreds of dubia roaches at a time and whatnot. So have to kind of get used to it to feed my all my children in here. But, you know, I'm aware that this is an insect and it's an invertebrate, and I'm in love with it. So it's really the first invertebrate, and not just her. I have 3 different species of mantis. We have the spiny flower mantis, we have the giant shield mantis, and we have a ghost mantis. But these guys in general have really been the first insects that I've ever, really enjoyed watching, enjoyed hanging out with like this. Now that we can do that, even though she's threw up all over me. I don't know what the heck that is, but I gotta make sure she's okay. But I don't really know if they have vets for praying mantises, so we're gonna have to figure something out. What do you think? All in all, just amazing little creatures. Anyway, guys, she just puked all over me again. So I think what she's letting me know is that this video is over. I know they're not reptiles, guys, so bear with me if you're watching this channel for the sake of reptiles, but I love all animals, really. I'm surprised you guys don't see my cats more in the videos, but that's really all there is to say. What do you think about mantises? Are these something that maybe you liked as a kid, but now you kind of just forgot about them, but now you're thinking, hey, maybe this is a cool pet for me to have? The downside is that they live about a year, so I will say that before you go out and get them, because I'm already getting attached to mine, and in about a year's time, who knows what's going to be happening. So either way, I'm having a good time making this video. Gave me a good excuse to finally work up the courage to handle her for the first time. It's not that I'm scared of them. I'm scared that they're going to jump and get away. And I also have the demon feral tokay gecko. So if this thing found its way into the tokay gecko enclosure, that's a wrap. So, it was a good time. It was a good time talking to you guys. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the notifications so that you see when we post videos. It'll be twice a week. Yara, anything you gotta say except throwing up on Dad? No? Alright, that's it. We're done. Thank you guys so much for watching Red Ribbon Reptiles, and we'll see you next time.